Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the sgap cast. Other animals.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We made it. We somehow are back and surviving.
Last
and
episode was a
alive.
year ago this month.
Oh my god, a
Oh
year
my
already?
That's crazy. Well, hopefully we can start doing these more and get some good guests like in and out of the community to talk about the juicy sgap topics. That's what we're that's what we're really here for. To start out, we have a guest with us, Riah. Hello.
Hello.
How should we address you?
Well, you can address me by Riah, actually. I'm really sorry.
Oh.
I did not clarify how to... That sounded pretentious.
See,
I'm so sorry.
that's no, it didn't. That's why this is a good first question.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, my name is Riah. I go by she, they pronouns. That's really about it. I am a creature. That's all you need to know.
Well,
Nice.
welcome, Riah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
We should probably introduce ourselves too.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm Bobby. I use she, they pronouns. I'm the sgap. I'm another sgap creature that lurks in the depths of the server.
All right.
I feel like you're like on the surface.
I'm on the surface. I'm under the surface.
I do
I'm
kind
everywhere.
of see you as like a figurehead for the sgap community. Like,
Yeah.
whenever I think of
that's so
like,
silly.
I just think, oh, Bobby. That's scat.
I mean, that's just because I'm always around,
Yeah.
and I never log off the server. Like, that's the only server I really go on.
Cool.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so I'm Daniel. I go by he, they pronouns and currently live in the US. Though I grew up in Hong Kong. So I like telling people that because it's like the one cool fact about me.
Yeah.
You have more than one cool fact about you. That's underselling yourself.
I made the SGAP documentary.
Oh
Yes, you
shit!
did.
You did. Okay, I had no idea.
We're finding out so much about each other already. This is wonderful.
Yeah, I'm not as active in the community as I'd like to be, but I'm here today because there's a lot I want to talk about. And Daniel saw my tweet after the documentary came out saying like, "Oh, I wish I could be in it because I feel like I have a lot to say and I have a really big story and now I get to tell it today." So, I'm excited.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, and with that, before we get into the SGAP thing, we have to ask about your favorite foods.
Oh, of course.
So, your favorite donut and favorite boba tea, if you like boba.
Yeah, I remember being asked this question when I joined the Discord, and my answer is the same. I still just chocolate frosted donuts. I'm not super picky about my donuts. I'm not a huge donut consumer, but if I ever am driving through Dunkin', then I'll go with chocolate frosted because why not? And with boba,
It's a good pick.
Yeah, it's pretty standard, but it gets the job done. And boba, I really like green tea boba.
Like matcha type stuff?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get like the tapioca pearls or you get like some other crazy nonsense in there?
Yes, I do. I've also, what's it called? It's this weird fruit that's like little white cube chunks, like jelly chunks. Those
like
are good too.
lychee?
Yes, the lychees. Those are also
Yeah.
really good. I had them on like a really hot day, and I'm like, this is what heaven tastes like. It's great.
Lychee is great.
Mm-hmm.
They
I'm a
actually
big-
grew like all over the place back in Hong Kong.
Ooh, nice.
Like these big tall trees.
How do you eat the fruit? Like, how do you cut it?
They're kind of like cherries. But with like a tough skin around them.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen a lychee fruit. At least I don't think so. So I kind of imagined it as like a passion fruit, but I guess that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they have like you have to peel off the tough skin, and then underneath it's just like a white fruit with a hard seed inside.
You ever just like eat them?
Sometimes I don't really like them
Oh.
because it takes so much effort to like peel off the skin,
Right.
and then you have to avoid the
Yeah.
seed.
Yeah, that sounds like a pain in the ass. Anyways,
Yeah. Anyways.
let's get into it.
Cool.
Let's talk about your SGAP experience. This is what everybody came for. The juicy SGAP knowledge and topics. So, right away, what is your favorite and least favorite SGAP song?
All right, so it's kind of tricky. I would say my favorite is tied between Sorceress Girl. Oh God, it's a three-way tie. No, wait, let me think. I even thought about this before the question. It's a three-way tie between Sorceress Girl, Starhopper, and Seawinkle. And my least favorite, I gotta go with what literally everyone else says. I'm so sorry, Other Animals. Woo! I'm sorry. I can appreciate it from an artistic point of view, but I can't listen to it as I would listen to like Starhopper or like any of the E series songs, like E42 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
I completely agree.
yeah.
But more guests in the future may have some words to say. Maybe we'll get some Other Animals defenders on.
I'm
but-
open to hearing it. I'd love to hear. I'd love to have a conversation about it. We can like pick it apart and be like, this song suck or this song good.
We gotta get to the bottom of it.
Yes, we
and
have
find
to-
out if it's a good song or not.
we have to get to the bottom of this. It's so important.
Those are good picks, though. I'm a huge fan of Seawinkle as well.
Oh yeah,
And
I love the. I don't know what the beginning voice is from, but it's just such a wonderful way to
Ooh.
set the mood. And then like the do 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 like it's just so wonderful.
The drums
Yeah,
are like
yes, yeah.
different from any other SGAP song.
Yeah. It's really such a like. It's very like turquoise. It's like. If you know those jars where you put glitter in it and you swirl it around with water,
Yeah.
that's kind of what Seawinkle is to me. It's just such a beautiful song.
Wait, why is it
colorful.
turquoise for you too?
I don't know. It just is. It's like turquoise, lots of blues, maybe some purples in there,
Yeah.
and then when the I don't know how to describe it, but like when the song progresses, I kind of see like little yellow dots, and with the voices. It's just so pretty.
yeah, the intro of that I believe is from this guy named Osho, who's like
Oh.
I don't know what to call him.
Right.
Like
He's a spiritual speaker.
yeah.
yeah,
Like-
he like was like a figurehead, I guess, of like a religious movement or something.
Oh,
Like
Yeah.
interesting.
but yeah, that
It
was
sounded like you'd heard of him.
yeah. Have you heard of him or you just?
Oh, me? Sorry. Sorry, no.
No,
I have
you're
not
good.
heard of him, no. I only know
Oh,
that
yeah.
I like the beginning of the song.
Yeah, I think it's taken from like one of his longer talks that he did. I think I do have that MP3 somewhere, like
Cool.
on my computer. It's just like 2.5 hours of this guy talking, and then like just the Seawinkle sample is buried in there somewhere.
Let's
And then
go.
like it's just surreal to listen to him talk, and then like he just says the Seawinkle sample and then just goes back to talking like about everything else. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
it's an out of body experience.
Yeah, if I heard that like in the wild, I'd probably just like start crawling on all fours. Like that's like what?
He has a
What'd
very
you just say?
distinctive voice. Like
He does exactly.
Yeah.
You gotta send that to me sometime. Actually, I've been wanting to hear that for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably like you could probably search Osho in the server and find links somewhere. But afterwards I can definitely look at if just to see if I have it. And I'll send
Yeah.
it to you.
I remember I actually did search for it, and like, it's on this paid website.
Oh.
I believe you bought it, right?
I think I bought it.
And now you're.
and then I think the
yeah.
site went down as well.
Oh
like,
really?
I
Oh,
think
man.
so. I could be wrong.
Man, Scap takes his stuff down. OSHA takes his stuff down.
I think OSHA's been dead for quite some time. I'm not sure who's in charge of distributing his MP3s. I'm not offended.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, those are some great picks.
Yeah.
Some great insight on Osho.
Yeah, you want to move on to the next question is, how would you describe the sgap genre? Because everyone does it differently. So like, yeah, how would you describe it?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like, I know some of his work can definitely, well, maybe not even definitely, that's kind of a strong word. I guess in general, just plunderphonics, I actually had to look up what is the genre of pogo, since that's the most similar I can come up with, because I'm really not, I don't really know a lot of genres. Like, I mean, I listen to music, but in my brain, I don't really make the connection. I mean, I know, like, what house is. I know what, like, techno is and stuff like that. But when it comes to naming Scap, I have no earthly clue. I want to say, because I've never really heard anything like his music, except for Pogo. But even then, like, there's just really nothing like So Great and Powerful. So,
yeah,
like, serious answer, I guess, would be plunderphonics, but non-serious answer, it's just scapcore.
I like that. I'll start calling it scapcore.
Yeah.
Scapcore is like a good all-encompassing term for like everything he does, I think.
Right, because not all of his stuff is sample-based. It's also...
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, he progressed past it, sort of.
Yeah, especially with Captive Unicorns.
Oh, yeah.
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 Actually, yeah, do we want to talk about, like, what Captive Unicorns even is? It's, like, electronic, but also, like, singer-songwriter thing.
Yeah. It's definitely, I feel like it's much, not more organic, but it definitely has more of an organic quality to it. Like with Moon Snow, it's just, but it still has that scap quality that made me just, like, I was just so overcome with emotion when I heard it for the first time. I was so happy, and seeing, like, how the G1 pony was the thumbnail, it was just the best thing ever, because it felt like a natural progression from his previous identity, and then he disappeared again. So it was like, you know, it was a beautiful little tidbit that was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, he's also referencing like old songs he's done, in the songs. It's very clearly like, you know, taking everyone back to like that era and like referencing it and like just putting it back into existence. Yeah,
it was such a wonderful callback.
Yeah, I'm a big Scrimshaw fan.
Oh,
that is a great track.
Love Scrimshaw, it's so good.
Yeah, I like your point about, like, bringing it back to the pony stuff, because, like, with Mirrors for Princes, it seemed like he was trying to move away from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like for some people, MLP is just kind of ingrained into them at this point, like, as it is for me. And I'd like to think that that's similar for David, or Scap, since he went back to that. It's just, you know, the way he expressed his love for the show through So Great and Powerful just seemed like it's not really something you can just truly move on from. You know, he had a lot of really deep philosophical analyses and points of view that I think is... I was going to get into this in the later questions, but I think that's a big reason why a lot of us feel so drawn to his music, but we won't get all into that right now. We can talk a little bit about that later.
Yeah.
Okay. Can
that's
come back to
stuff,
it.
Though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I wanted to touch on like the calling it plunderphonics. I think for the standard model, I think it's very accurate.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
He has like said that, you know, in reference to the standard model, that he's like doing pogo stuff, I think was the quote or something along those lines. So like, you know, he's very self-aware that it's, you know, that's what he's doing for those songs.
Yep.
But yeah, like I hold a lot of those near and dear to me, like especially On My Own. I'm
Oh
still in love
yeah.
with, but I definitely think he shines the most like when he kind of is starting to develop his own sound.
Yes.
Like, you know, S2 and like Beyond
Yeah,
are some
absolutely.
of my favorite things by him.
Hmm.
All right. So how did you learn about SGAP?
I want to say it was probably around 2011. I first got into My Little Pony, and I was also 11 years old at the time. So I was like, I think the first episode I ever saw was no, I saw like a thumbnail for like the first episode on YouTube, and I saw Nightmare Moon. I'm like, oh, that looks cool. And then I watched it, and I'm like, am I really watching My Little Pony? Then I clicked another episode, and then like hours later, I'm like way deep into the fandom. And I don't think it was the first day of my fandom journey that I got into SoGap, but I think one day I probably came across Flutter Wonder, um, his remix of Flutter Wonder, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was about it, but something about it just really resonated with me, and I just like hopped on that train and just consumed everything SoGap, um, and it really stuck with me up until like, I mean, I can get into this a little later at question 5, but um, it became like really significant to me back in around like 2015 ish. But yeah, I think my first introduction to Scap was his remix of Flutter Wonder on YouTube.
Wow, so you were there really early on.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of my most cherished parts about me because it's something that I've been into for so long. It's kind of something I can fall back on and be like, wow, at least I was in this fandom. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like, I don't know. It's like it makes me feel really cool to have been there at the start and watch the fandom grow and wane and freak out over the years. It's just something I really hold near and dear to my heart. And Scap is definitely a huge part of that.
Yeah, I'm jelly.
Yeah, I'm very, very grateful that I got into it when I did.
Yeah, there's only a handful of people in the server I feel like that got in like very early, like at Flutter Wonder.
Yeah, yeah. It had like just come out, and I remember like reading the description for it too, and like all the comments were there, and now of course that's different now. I don't know if it is for Flutter Wonder, but he deleted everything, so if only I had known.
Yeah, it does change
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, it really does.
All
I
right.
I had something in mind I wanted to ask about Flutter Wonder, but I forgot what it was.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Well, if it comes to you, just let me know.
Gosh, okay, I'll probably think of it. So the next question is, why do you think people are so attached to his music all these years later? Like you especially, because you've been there from like right from the beginning,
Yeah.
and you're still into him like all these years later.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this. I'm like rubbing my hands together. So I feel
Let's get
like
into it.
like I feel like there are a lot of factors. So for starters, Scap was in a fandom that was like going to become huge, and I don't think anyone really knew that at first. But I think a lot of it is the timing when Scap first started making music, and it was about My Little Pony. Um, that like and when people got into it and where people were in their lives when they were exposed to Scap, I think, at least for me, is really important to how it's stuck with me, at least. But I feel like I get the impression that um, back then, people were kind of at like a formative time in their lives. Um, I mean, again, I'm speaking for myself, but this is just an impression I have. Uh, and when people were exposed to Scap, people were like, "Whoa, this is like really different and really like because, you know, like I said before, there isn't really anything else quite like So Great and Powerful. So, and especially since My Little Pony was like pretty much taking the world by storm, and not even just in 2011, like it doesn't really matter. Like if you're still into it now, all these years later, it doesn't really matter when you got into it. So Great and Powerful is just so incredibly unique and powerful. Like, I feel like it just struck a chord that a lot of people didn't know they had. And that especially goes for me, because like if you look at the lyrics, a lot of it doesn't really make sense, but there's kind of a beauty in that because you can apply your own meanings to it. And if you want, you can get into like the philosophical meaning behind it, because there's, you know, a lot of philosophy in his work. And that actually inspired me to get into philosophy, you know, talking about Hegel and absolute spirit, and all that. But I just feel like his music brought something to me that I hadn't previously experienced, and I haven't since. And I feel like I speak for a lot of people when I say like that's a pretty big reason why. Also just I personally was like, you know, 11 when I found his stuff. And I know not everyone got into his stuff when they were like young, but for me, like, you know, the stuff you take in at a young age, I feel like it sticks with you for a longer time. Because, like, I can get into new shows now. I can get into animes and stuff, but none of it quite has the same effect on me as, like, My Little Pony does. Because I got into it when I was, like, a kid. And I feel like that kind of overlaps with So Great and Powerful. Like, I know that my experience isn't universal. I feel like I might have implied that before, but I just get the impression that since the timing was right and the content was right and just everything seemed to align, hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah,
that was a great answer.
Okay, cool.
I really resonate with what you said about like coming to SCAP during like a formative period in your life.
Yes, exactly.
I think we touched on that in the documentary when Bobby and I think Ember also said that they both really got into SCAP during like a difficult time in their lives.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be when you're young. Just like if you're going through a hard patch, just in general, it feels like you tend to latch on to stuff more when you're going through something or when your brain is developing or whatever. Yeah,
for sure. And it was the same for me. Like, I really got into him like when I was 16 and during like adolescence, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I got into him probably when I was 13. And it's like the same exact like experience that you described for me, you know, like it's stuck around. Like I think like we as humans tend to like take the highlights of like certain eras of our past and like keep them with us.
Yes.
Like that's what happens with, you know, even stuff like pop radio or whatever. Like you know, they don't play the ones like the songs that nobody cares about. And I think just because SGAP, like he was so raw, like in making his music, it's such like this raw expression of like what it felt like to be in that early like fandom. When like the Brony stuff was like first picking up, like, you know, it's so magical and like just so beautiful, and like of course it's gonna stick with you, like of course it's going to, you know, just stay with you and never stop getting good, just because like, you know, it's made with so much love and care and like expertise to it that like it's really hard to like not keep going back to it and keep enjoying it.
Exactly. Like there's a lot of replay value in his stuff because there's so much meaning in his work. So you can go back to it, maybe like if you're feeling a different way and you're in a different mood, you might look at it in a different way because there's so much depth to his music. So it's just like the gift that keeps on giving. It's just really so fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. I like what you said about replay value too,
Yeah.
because like the lyrics, you could like look into the lyrics and see them in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like, I didn't like most of the songs when I first heard them, but
Right,
like
right.
like after listening to them, you get used to it, and then it like grows on you.
Yeah, it's a very unique attachment that his music has, like compared to other music, there's nothing else that's really attached itself to my soul, as cheesy as that sounds, like So Great and Powerful. Like, there are a few artists here and there that held significance for me, but when it comes to So Great and Powerful, it's like truly embedded in who I am as a person, but like deep down, Like, it's just
Yeah.
so incredibly important to me.
Actually,
Yeah, I think
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, I think there's a lot of people like on the server that I've met that have echoed a lot of that same sentiment
Yeah.
about it being like just a part of them, and I think that's really a great thing to share with people. And like I'm very
Yeah.
fortunate to have met a lot of people with like that same sort of experience that we all have seen the had.
I feel really
Yeah.
grateful to be not the only one, Like it's
Yeah.
it's really cool that there's like, there's a small but dedicated community so many years later. I just think that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what are the other musicians that have sort of come close to your soul, as you said?
I would say in second place, I guess it would be Madion. His music is it's kind of hard to describe my relationship with his music right now, especially at this time in my life, because I've been going through a lot of changes lately. So it's kind of hard to truly describe it, but I can say for certainty his music has played a huge part in my life, for sure. Similar with Porter Robinson, I'd say his album Worlds is like third place in terms of significance. I don't really listen to Madion's album Adventure is what I'm referring to, by the way. I don't really
With
listen
or without
to
the
them.
bonus tracks.
Oh, sorry.
With or without the bonus tracks.
Oh, I think probably without.
Oh damn. Okay.
Yeah. But in terms of significance, both Worlds and Adventure have definitely played a huge part in my life, although I don't listen to them on a regular basis. Some music is just too powerful for me to consume regularly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, sometimes there's, certain days where I feel like, okay, maybe I'll go back to this, or, but when it comes to So Great and Powerful, it's kind of different. Like, it's kind of like an old friend I can always come back to, but it's not like overwhelming in terms of energy. It's just there. It's just like a nice friend. And then I go back and listen to like Sorceress Girl, for example, and I can just listen, and I'm back in like my 2014, 2013, innocent childlike phase of wow, ponies. It's a great little escape. But with Worlds and Adventure, it's a little bit more powerful than that, but not in terms of significance, really. It's just different. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I like that. Like, it is more laid back than like the harder EDM songs that you mentioned.
Yeah, for sure. It's really fascinating how we form these attachments to music, and then as the years go by, when you listen to them again, it's like looking back in a chapter in a book. I really love that. That's one of the things I really love about music. And So Great and Powerful is like super important to me for that reason, because the height of my My Little Pony phase was just like pure bliss. Sure, I had issues like going to school and stuff, but man, I'd love to go back. You know, now everything is really complicated. And of course, we all have a tendency to look at the past through rose-colored glasses, but So Great and Powerful music helps me look back in a safe way, I guess. It's really nice.
Yeah.
That's a great way of describing it.
Yeah. Sorry if I'm talking too much, by the way. Like, I've never been on a podcast before.
This is good. This is the point, is to go on these good tangents.
Cool.
And to get the good I don't know. It's you shouldn't feel like you have to talk less on a podcast.
Okay, very cool. Very good, very cool.
Yeah, you're also like really good at like expressing these things that like
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I've sort of like had these feelings before, but I can't really put them into words, you know?
Right. Yeah, I've struggled with that too, for sure. But like when it comes to music, I don't know. It's honestly, this is really reassuring for me because lately I've felt like I've kind of lost touch with the significance of music. But I think that's really only because I haven't come across stuff as huge as So Great and Powerful or Porter Robinson or Madian. Hopefully I'll come across something like that makes me feel the same way because it's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, those albums you mentioned are definitely like albums I hold in a really high regard.
Yes.
And ones that I was like really into at specific parts in my life. But I definitely don't listen to them like maybe only like once in a while, where I just want to go back and be like, oh, I wonder if it's still like as good as I remember it being. But it definitely takes me back to like the era that I listened to it more with those albums. But I think with SGAP for me, like because I've listened to it so much like since I found it, it kind of takes me back not just to like the glory days of when I first found it, but just I kind of start getting memories of like every time I would listen to these songs, like just like scattered like throughout just my whole life. I don't know.
Yeah,
because I've listened to them like I haven't stopped like listening to them consistently for I don't know, like probably since I found it, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's why I'm actually really selective when I listen to SoGap, because I cherish the time in my life when I got into him so much. I don't want to like alter my perception of his music by listening to it in a time in my life that's different from when I first listened to it, if that makes sense. So I'm I have to like really be intentional when I listen to his stuff. But I completely get what you mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty selective about my music too. Like,
right.
Because like the songs bring back like really specific memories, and I don't want to like overwrite the memories almost.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly my point.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I totally like get what y'all are saying about it, but it's just, you know, like SGAP for me is I've listened to it in like every context. Like I've listened to it as background noise. I've listened to it to like jam out and like scream the lyrics to it.
I've done that before too. Know. Yeah. When I was having like a really bad day, and this was back when I lived with my parents and I was home alone, and I just like, you know, memories, Mama, hold on to me, galaxy, line by line. You know, that probably wasn't what I was actually screaming, but But I definitely get that kind of catharsis. But it's really special though that you listen to it so much, Bobby, because while there's significance in the way that Daniel and I consume his stuff, like with you, it's kind of like SoGap is like an anchor in your life. And so I think that's really admirable as well.
It's nice. I like this SGAP route I've chosen.
I think it's a great way to live your life.
I know that like Daniel and Adia and like one of my friends 10 from the server like all have at least one SGAP song that like they've deliberately not listened to,
Yeah.
like just so they can save it.
Exactly.
Which like was brought up on the first podcast, I think, but I just really like the idea of doing that, and kind of, I am a little envious of the people that do that, just because I've heard like all the songs so many times.
Of course, but there's a certain value in the way you do it too. I think it's cool.
Yeah, for sure. All
If
right.
anything,
No, go on.
yeah, one more thing before we move on. When the vinyls came in,
Oh yeah.
and the also Rainy Otter CDs, that was a bit of a turning point for me in the way I listened to sgap, because like I would have the CDs on in the car, just on a loop, like, and the vinyl as well, so it sort of started becoming background music.
Right.
When I had like the physical albums, rather than when I like picked them out on my phone.
Oh yeah.
Right.
There's definitely something to be said about the sentimental value of having a physical copy of music rather than just on your phone. I think it's really, that's why I'm glad that vinyl's making somewhat of a comeback, because you just, if you have something you can hold, you can keep it closer to you. And I think it's the same with SoGap, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those CDs. I think the mixes, like, and the choices of the songs are great on those, and like I would definitely put those on in my car. Like, just I had back in my old car, I had like a glove compartment that just fit, like, or not a glove compartment, like the little like thing in between the two front seats, and you can like put stuff in it, whatever that's called.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
that
like my
thing.
sgap CDs in there all the time, so just if I needed
yeah.
to put sgap like on, I could just be like yoink, and like just take the CD and put it in. It's like
That's
a very
cool.
nice convenient way whenever I was driving to just like have sgap on demand.
Yeah. Null's driving with you.
All right, so that was some great talk. Let's move on to the next question, which is, what would you have said in the documentary?
Oh, is the next question not what is the significance?
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think we got to that. Yeah.
well, yeah, that's exactly what
we
I
did-
said.
we
What is
did-
the
we did-
significance of sgap in your life?
Yeah, we did kind of touch on it already, but I do want to say, back in, I want to say 2013, 2014, I was going through a whole lot mentally. I had just started to realize that I was not mentally well at all, and I had a lot of undiagnosed mental illness going on. And I was actually admitted to several inpatient facilities over the course of a year. I believe from 2014 to 2015 for suicidal ideations. Nothing acting upon, but I was not safe, essentially. And I have to say, probably the biggest thing that got me through all that was SoGreatandPowerful, because I would print out lyrics to his stuff, because we couldn't bring in phones. Like, this was a place where, like, you couldn't bring in phones, you couldn't talk to friends, you couldn't, like, go on Tumblr or whatever. Like, it was just focused on recovery, and it sucked a lot. Getting on meds, getting diagnoses, therapy, stuff like that. So I would print out lyrics to his songs and just analyze them. And we couldn't bring in music players either, so I would, like, kind of sing them to myself in my room. And I actually have them, the printouts, here right in front of me. And
Oh, wow.
it's actually funny. I have the lyrics to Starhopper, and one of the things I wrote for question mark, why is space so dark, that part.
Yeah.
I wrote, who is question mark, and do they have the answers? I was really pretentious back then too. But I have a lot of notes on here, and it's just so beautiful to look back on. I don't look back on that time in my life with, like, yes, it sucked, but, you know, looking at all the drawings I did, too, of Night Glider and Starhopper and Galaxy in my journal, I feel nothing but gratitude for So Great and Powerful for getting me through that, because it was, like, the one thing that I could, like, you know, we talked about, like, analyzing the lyrics and, like, going back and finding meaning in it. Like, it was something that I really did with his stuff, and it kept my brain occupied away from, like, really dark areas, you know? And that's why I've wanted to get a So Great and Powerful tattoo for a while. I don't know why I haven't gotten around to it yet, but the null brackets really resonated with me, because it's like the whole concept of nothing, right? Like there's like, you know, the concept of nothing doesn't really exist, because a concept is still something. So in my brain, I took that concept and it was like, well, what did I say? It was like, there's always something to be found, even in, like, really hard times, like hope. And that's kind of what the null brackets ended up really symbolizing for me. So yeah, So Great and Powerful got me through a really rough time, and man, hopefully that made sense, because I'm kind of just rambling at this point.
Oh yeah, that's a really
Thank you.
Yeah, that beautiful is the word that I was trying to find. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Great
like,
story.
Thank you. It's just like, you know, I got really into philosophy for a little while, and just the concept of nothing. There's never really nothing. So, and I translated that to, like, well, there's never really no hope left. There's always something to be found. So that's kind of what the null brackets mean to me. That's kind of what SoGap encompasses for me, and I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Would you get a like Bodoni null set tattoo? Is that the?
Yeah, I think I would. I would probably get it over my wrist. And yeah, I will definitely let you know if I end up doing that. You know what?
Yeah, that sounds like. That sounds tempting, honestly. Like,
yeah, I've never gotten a tattoo before, so I guess maybe I'm just a little scared. That's really the only reason why I haven't done it yet.
Right.
Yeah, I know we just met, but, like, I think you should go for it, because like after hearing your stories, like, gosh, you should definitely go for it.
Yeah, I think
I agree. Yeah, I think a lot of people can resonate just with like, you know, going to SGAP's music in a rough time, just because, like, it has that endless sort of, like, replayability about it, where, like, you can look into so many aspects of it for so long and still find new things about it that you know, will stick out to you.
Yeah, like the line in Starhopper that says, "Watch for the signs, darling, you'll be all right. Open your window, turn on the light." That was my favorite. you know, gosh. Like, even if you don't see it yet, things will get better. There will be signals leading up to, quote, "the light at the end of the tunnel." And, you know, little notes here and there. Closed windows plus darkness equals obstacles to recovery. You know, just stuff like that here and there. I also want to mention, I would print out memes to bring with me, because we couldn't use the internet, but also, you remember the meme that's like the chicken with boots, and it was like, he boot too big for he goddamn feet?
Yeah,
I thought that was so funny. I would print it out, and like all my friends would laugh at it. Of course, that was back in 2015, but another thing I would print out is, y'all know that comic that the artist Comic Kit. Is Comic Kit the same as Wink Out? I think so.
Yeah, I think they're the same person.
Yes. The one where Null is Galaxy's daughter. I organized all the panels into Microsoft Word, and on a home visit, I printed them out and I brought them home, and I literally have it right here.
Oh my god.
And I remember
if you would be willing to share pictures of these items and stuff, like, we could definitely put them on on the visuals, but you know,
I would
obviously
love
if you're not
to.
comfortable,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
love to.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
If you
Yeah.
if you send those whenever, then we can do that for sure.
Yeah, I also have like drawings in my personal journal. I'm so upset because you know the Sorry 52 album?
Yeah.
So like in one of the inpatient facilities I was at, we would do art therapy where we would basically all get together in the basement and just draw. Sometimes they were prompts, but when it was like a free drawing time, I had this huge piece of paper, and I painted like Sorry 52, and
Oh
I
my
remember it
God.
was so pretty. I ended up forgetting it there. I was so sad. Like,
Oh no.
but I do have a lot of drawings I'd love to share with you from my journal.
Wow, you painted like the album art?
Yeah, it was so good.
Oh,
Like
man.
I'm looking at it now, like dated April 10th, 2015. I wrote down the definition
Wow.
for Sorry 52 and all that stuff.
Wow.
It's really cool, man. And I feel like I think what I'm really grateful for is that I feel nothing but compassion for my past self going through all this, because I was really angry. Like if someone knew me now and just met me, and like no one could guess that I was the same person as I was back then. I was angry at everything. I was depressed. I was like on the edge all the time. But I had So Great and Powerful, and I think a big reason why I am the way I am is because I took in the messages of his work and I interpreted it, and it was just magic for me. And it's just so incredibly special that that's what ended up getting me through it, and not like, I don't know, Fall Out Boy. I mean, nothing against Fall Out Boy, but I'm glad that, you know, I did listen to my fair share of emo stuff too, but I'm really grateful that it was So Great and Powerful, because I feel like it's a big reason why I am the way I am today. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. You know, I'm not sure if the Fall Out Boy Discord has an active voice call. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, that's just the first one that came to mind. I have absolutely nothing against them, but
I mean, yeah. I am grateful for having SGAP as, like, you know, like something that's been significant in my life as well, you know, like I think it's I think because it's like music that's just made to exist.
Yes.
Like you know, he's not making any money off of it. He's making it solely because he wants to make it.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's from this energy from like the show.
yeah,
and-
that's
and
actually I was actually reading I guess you could call it a diary from the hospital, and I don't know where this quote is from, but I started it out with a journal entry. The quote is, "The thing I remember best about successful people I've met all through the years is the obvious delight in what they're doing, and it seems to have very little to do with worldly success. They just love what they're doing." And
Yeah.
I think that speaks a lot to what SoGap was doing. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
up until he deleted everything, but I feel
Yeah,
like
I think he takes it like too far, probably.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if he doesn't like what he's made, I guess he just takes it down.
yeah.
But
I definitely think even though he did end up essentially disowning his work, when you hear it, you can tell that he put a lot of heart and soul into it. Like, I don't think there's any denying that it truly flowed through him naturally. And I think that's another reason why it resonates with so many people on a subconscious level, because it's just pure soul coming from him. Even if he ended up disowning it. I think a lot of creatives are just like that anyway, where they listen to their old stuff and they're like, oh God, did I really make that? That's awful. Or whatever
Yeah.
reason he had, you know, might have been different from that, but
I think it also is just that, like, I think people that make things tend to not hold the things that they make in as high of a regard as they would
yes,
as, like, you know,
imposter
something
syndrome is a
that they're
bitch. Yeah.
yeah absolutely. So I think SGAP just is like that, probably, where he just looks down on his own work
Yeah.
and just like kind of denounces it and just is like, yeah, you know, That didn't happen.
Yeah, delete the archives.
Yeah. Yeah, what were your thoughts on I mean, I guess that's one of the questions later, but we can just bring it up now. Like, what were your thoughts on when you did all that stuff? Like the delete SGAP stuff
Yeah.
and like
So I think I don't think I was super aware of it when it happened, but I'm not mad at him for doing it. I think he's perfectly within his right to do what he wants with his own creation. I mean, it sucks that he felt like he had to do that, and it sucks that he came to that conclusion, but I mean, I'm not mad at him about it. I of course, the selfish part of me wishes he would keep making music, but I know that it's not that simple when it comes to creating music. You know, I've been trying to make music for many years now too, and it's just sometimes it just doesn't come out. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I guess I'm indifferent. It definitely sucks, but I can certainly respect his decision.
Yeah, that's a good stance on it.
Mm-hmm.
Very fair.
I know some people, when he came out with that delete SGAP stuff, were very upset by it or distraught or just kind of affected by it. And I still remember when it first came out, just being like, just instantly making fun of it and saying like, no, you shouldn't let this like affect you, like this, you know. His music, if it means so much to you, like already, like, you know, just keep vibing with that. You don't need to you don't need to delete it. It's all good.
Yeah.
He can't make you delete it. It's fine.
And it's perfectly understandable to be mad at him for it, because this music, as we've discussed, is like really important to a lot of people. So it's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
But I think it's also important to respect his wishes, because no one can truly know exactly what goes on in someone else's brain.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's all right.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. I think the thing that keeps coming up for me is the quality of like being like outside of this world, like
Yes.
like just completely like transcending everything.
Yeah. I've always felt like, I mean, I don't want to glorify him or put him on a pedestal, because at the end of the day, we're all people. But I've always felt like there is something of an otherworldly quality to, I mean, I don't know him personally, but certainly his music just feels very, very special compared to everything else. And maybe that's just me speaking because, you know, I'm biased. Maybe I'm biased. But I feel like even if just a random person were to listen to it, they'd be like, whoa, this is some different shit, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's different in the way that, like, we were talking about earlier, with the motivation for it was not to, like, make money or get famous.
Right.
And, you know, that really, like, the deleting it really, like, seals that and makes it authentic in a way.
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm really not doing this for attention.
Exactly. And the fact that he's like, do whatever you want with my music, what's mine is yours. Like, that's truly special. Yeah. That's truly rare to come across these days.
Yeah.
Even back when it came out, it was rare.
Yeah, that tagline was on the YouTube About section from, like, very early on.
Yep.
But here's the thing. If he deleted that statement, does it still,
it
still hold up?
We have to...
Gotta return all the vinyls.
Yep, I guess we're sending them back.
But yeah, I wanted to touch on, like, I don't know, just it being special, and like showing it to other people that may be disconnected from all this. And I have done that. I've shown SGAP to, like, you know, people that are completely outside of the fandom. They don't really know anything about it. Yeah. And I will say I've gotten mixed responses, but I think that's just because everyone is, you know, everyone has their own music taste.
Yes.
And I really think listening to brony music, like, changes your perception on music as a whole.
Yeah.
And not everyone goes through that.
Yeah, it kind
you know?
of puts it in a different lens. And everyone, like, processes art differently. I feel like certain people are more sensitive to art in general. So, but, like, I guess it really depends, but it's fun that you have had mixed reviews. I think that's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah, like, I've had one person that was just like, this is all right. And then didn't really, like, they weren't really into it, it's whatever. And then
Yeah.
I've had one person that didn't like it, thought it was annoying. I've had another who is, like, you know, kind of like a music person, like they play like a couple instruments, and he really liked it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
said, like, wow, like, you know, I don't know if I'm down with all the pony stuff, but, you know, I see the musicality in this and how it's special and very
Yeah.
fun to listen to and just great. I don't know, but I've gotten, you know, like I said, mixed responses. So I wish that everyone would be able to, like, see it for what it is. But I really think, like, being in the fandom might be, like, a little bit of a requirement to, like, really get into his music. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to have at least been in the fandom for a little bit to
Yeah.
like fully appreciate it, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I have to wonder if I would... No, I don't even have to wonder. I know that my perception of his stuff would be different if I had never heard of it before and I just got into it now. Like, if I just stumbled across Sorceress Girl for the first time today, I'd probably be like, oh, that's nice. Like, I have no idea if it would resonate with me the same way it did back in whenever, like 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
And something that came to me, I also want to talk about the way he processes his voice. I think is really, really cool, because it doesn't really sound like there's a specific gender to it. Like, when I found out, yeah, it's something you can kind of, like, you don't think that there's a person behind the music. There's just music behind the music. Like, usually when you, like, listen to a song, you're like, oh, this is a guy singing, this is a girl singing, this is a non-binary person singing, whatever, what have you. But with So Great and Powerful, it's just like, this is singing, you know? It's just art speaking. And I think that's really special.
That's a really great take on that.
Yeah, I totally forgot that I had that thought. I think I had it back in, like, 2016, then I forgot about it until now.
Yeah, I love that so much. Honestly, like, we were talking earlier about how all three of us had questions about our gender.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can talk about my own experience with this, like,
Oh, of course.
like, Sorcerer's Girl especially, like, feels like a very, like, every time I listen to it, I'm like, can we just live without gender? Like,
Yeah, like, it's just so gender, you know?
it's so
So gender.
it's so non-gender.
Non-gender, yes.
Agender.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's odd that I chose that one because it has girl in the title. But,
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean, sometimes it's not about the lyrics, it's about the vibe. That's a lot of what I
Yeah.
get from his stuff. It's kind of like when you... I don't know if you guys... I used to have a lot of OCs, and I would listen to music and assign music to said OC. Even if the lyrics have nothing to do with the OC, it's the feeling of the song that makes me think of them. And I feel like
Yeah.
it's kind of similar here, too.
I've never done that myself, but I definitely it sounds like a fun way to, like, categorize music. Like,
Yes.
I've categorized music by, like, or at least at one point in my life I attempted to do it by feeling, but then, like, that's just like what about albums? Like, oh, do I just, like, fucking sort the album and, like,
Yeah.
just break it up between all these, like, different folders? And, like, I feel like my system for music has just been terrible. But, you know, when it comes to SGAP, like, I think I always just stick to, like, the folder from, like, from SoGreatandPowerful.com and just, like,
Yes.
click around that
Yep, exactly.
at
I'm
my
the same
own
way.
discretion.
Yeah, I like to organize my music through months and a year. So like if I'm on Spotify
Wow.
and I'm listening to music, I'll be like, oh, this can go into my November playlist. And then I listen to that playlist and I'm like, oh, it's October again. No, it's not. It's November. But I'm listening to music from my October playlist, stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a really fun way to do music. I actually stopped doing it for a while because, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I haven't really found music that resonates with me a whole lot lately. But I've kind of started doing it with, like, hyperpop and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I want to make music a bigger part of my life. That's, like, kind of a current goal because it's just so much more fun.
Yeah, that really does seem like a nice interactive way to categorize your music.
Yeah.
I like that. Like, I think I'll try that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to, like, organize chapters of your life, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've had playlists made for, like, certain months, like, December 2018 playlist, but I don't really go back to them. I don't really organize music at all because, like, even, like, genres, as we were talking about earlier, are so vague and, like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's too much work to try to, like, organize all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've never tried to sort by genre. Like, that's just impossible. You can't, like, it's so subjective as well. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I can recognize, like, rock or pop or stuff like that, but once you get into, like, the real nitty-gritty, especially when it comes to electronic genres, like, I don't know, I'm just pulling this out of a hat, Latin jungle house, I don't know. Like, really specific stuff like that. It just gets, it can get really granular.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Riah, you mentioned earlier that, you didn't know what would happen, like, if you never listened to SGAP and, like, you just, like, listen to it now. Well, there's lots of people that have been joining the server that, like, got into him, like, last year and stuff.
Really?
Like, yeah, there's this
awesome.
new wave of people. Some of them are, like, they used to be into, like, Pony, like, back in, like, 2013 or whatever, then they fell out, and then they got back in and looked at the music, and then, like, fell back into Brony music, and then found SGAP. Like, that's a handful of people.
I love that.
But yeah, people are still finding his music now and are saying a lot of similar things about why they think it's excellent, and I really think that's just amazing to see that happening.
That makes me really happy. Do they know about the No Fuss by...
Char.
Have you guys...
Oh, Any Fuss?
Any Fuss, yes, Any Fuss.
Yeah, people have been talking about that a bit.
What's up with that? Is that, like, a new person just emulating scat? I mean, I'm welcoming it.
Yeah, that's my friend Char.
Okay.
Who just, he is very particular in how he approaches emulating SGAP style, like, so much so that he, like, when he made that song, he, like, made it in, like, a newer version of FL first, and then he, like, remade the entire thing in FL Studio 10.
Oh my
Whoa,
just, like,
that's
the
dedication.
entire song.
I love
know
that.
It's insane.
Oh, I
and
love
then,
that a
like,
lot.
he did all, like, the video stuff as well, like, to emulate it, to make it look exactly like, SGAP. So he is, like, just very good, I think, at going for that aesthetic and mimicking it, like, very well. But yeah, he's just an SGAP fan like the rest of us. He's not SGAP. I can tell you that for sure.
Okay, that's too bad. I was just thinking, I feel like it would be so weird to make an SGAP-esque thing for Generation 5. That would be really interesting.
My friend Toasterless has done that.
Really?
Yeah, like, well, I don't know what his intentions are on this, like, other alias that he's using to, like, make stuff like that, but the joke, which was really funny, was well, that's a great way to introduce a joke. It has to be fucking hilarious now. Basically when the G5, like, Hasbro investor meeting thing dropped,
Okay.
Like, do you know about this? Do you know
Yes,
about
yeah,
the,
yeah.
yeah, where there's like this man like saying these are the new ponies, like
Oh,
we thought it would be funny to like chop the guy up, like the guy who was giving the presentation, like do vocal chops of him, like, and make an SGAP ripoff, like
okay.
before there's any G5 voice acting. So like the first song under this like new alias was like, you know, both the songs are made entirely by him, and like that one was really funny, but also
sounds
really
awesome.
faithful to the prompt. And
What
then
is
he
it
did the alias is called Magic Makes It All Complete, and it's just one word.
Oh, that's fitting.
I came up with the alias and like the profile picture, which is like square brackets instead of the curly brackets. It's such like a blatant SGAP ripoff. It's really funny.
That's
But,
awesome. You'll have to send me that. That sounds so funny.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
amazing songs. And the other one, he just did an actual, you know, SGAP style like G5 remix using like Fit Right In and like a few of the other ones, like Gonna Be My Day, I
Nice.
think.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
that is like, that just blows me away every time I listen to it. So those are still like relatively unknown, because like they only really came out for Dust Car,
Right.
which is, you know, like every 2 weeks there's like the pony topic or whatever,
Yeah.
the pony music contest.
God, that's
But yeah,
awesome.
I would highly recommend those. I'll definitely send those afterwards.
Yes, please. That sounds
Because
so
they're
funny.
well worth experiencing.
The guy at the investor meeting. Oh, so deep. So emotional.
It's a great song though. He's a
Yeah,
genius.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, I think we can move on to the next question,
Okay.
which is, what would you have said in the your documentary? What would you have said in it?
Probably everything I've already said here about my experience with the hospital.
I assumed that it would probably be that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I guess I don't really have anything else to say.
Yeah, well, it's a great story, and I really do wish that you know, there would have been an alt timeline where we could have got you
Yeah.
beforehand and had you in the
I
doc.
just didn't know about it in time, I guess. Oh
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, part of that was my organizing too. Like,
It was a long time ago.
I interviewed like 4 people
Mm-hmm.
and then just sort of dropped the project because I was getting on with college.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, like, really, like, when the pandemic started, I was like, if there's any time to finish it, it's like right now.
Yep. God, I can't believe. Don't say that. When the pandemic started, I feel like it just started yesterday, and we're talking like a year and a half ago or whatever it was.
It's so long
Sorry.
ago.
It's okay.
It's been a long one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Been listening to a lot of SGAP.
Yeah, I listened to Sorceress Girl to get me in the mood. Since I don't listen to it a lot, I had to like remind myself of my roots. And I'm like, okay, I'm looking at these papers. I'm looking at my journal. I'm so ready to talk about stuff.
You know, this whole time there's just been this like fire building within me that I just want to listen to SGAP so bad now, like after
Yeah.
we've just been talking about it for an hour. Like I just want to sit down and listen to it. Like
Me too.
it's so good.
I remember I had a bit of a SoGap comeback when I first started going to college. I would listen to it on the bus there and back, but other than that, it's been pretty sparse. But I'm definitely going to go back to it after this.
Yeah, this is a good way to hype myself up to listen to it more.
Yeah.
as if I needed that.
I think there really is just one more question.
Okay.
We were talking earlier about like the new people coming into the community.
Yeah.
So like, what about the community in general? Like, any thoughts?
Honestly,
feelings?
like, the only thoughts I have is that I need to be more active because, like, even before you were like, oh, there are new people coming in, I'm like, I feel like these people get me, you know? Like, I've only just started talking to you guys, And like I feel like you get me. I need to be more involved in this. But now you're saying there are more people coming in. I'm like, I gotta get in on this. Like, I've been here since the beginning. I gotta show my face. So.
Well, we'd love to have you in the voice call and just like around in the server.
I want friends.
Yeah, we're always looking for more people. Like, and you know, there's no better place to talk about SGAP, in my opinion. You know.
Yeah, I honestly there's must be nowhere else. I feel like
yeah.
It's so incredibly special to me that I'm into So Great and Powerful because it has such a small yet dedicated community. Like, that's the vibe I get, you know? Like, in the grand scope of everything that's out there, SoGap is so small and yet it's so cherished. So,
absolutely.
I'm getting in on that. I don't know what I've been doing all these years. I've just been, like, sitting and feeling things and be like, wow, I like So Great and Powerful, but I never went out of my way to find other people who like it.
Well, we have like some nice events that go on. Like, we have every Friday there's a new movie night where we watch this random movie that gets picked from a wheel that spins.
Yes, please.
That people put picks on. And also, like, there's no real set schedule for it, but it's every like few months, I guess. The next one might be like, well, it's definitely going to be in 2022, but we have this thing called Acid Unicorns where like we get everyone in the server, whether they're an artist or a musician. They make sets that are like, you know, 15 minutes or so, and then we just watch them all. It's like a nice little cozy e-concert type vibe.
I've been trying to get back into DJing. Like, I'm like,
you should do a thing for it.
Yeah, when I looked up Sorceress Girl before this, I saw a Hatsune Miku cover, and I'm like, oh, like I looked at the description, and it was like, oh, this is from Acid Unicorns, and I'm like, huh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really great. Like, it's a great event to see like all the minds of the server just like and what they can do, like all just coming together like in this, just I don't know. I like it. I think it's like one of my favorite times to have online.
All right.
It's a great little cozy, comfy concert time.
Yes. I am totally doing that. Oh my gosh, I'm excited now.
That makes me want to join too. Like, I've been feeling recently like I need to make more friends and like get connected with people, and I don't know why I didn't do that earlier. Like, I just don't join voice call that often. But
yeah, we're always looking for more people to talk, and we're friendly. We don't bite, I promise. You know, anyone can come in and say hi.
Perfect.
And we'll have a great time.
Well, I will do that for sure.
Yay.
Wonderful.
Yay. This is in Scap Hell or Captive Unicorns?
Captive Unicorns.
Okay.
Scap Hell is there's no voice call there. There's just, you know, shit posts and more.
I was good. Okay, that's something I forgot to say. I love the memes. Like, the We Found Scap video. That's so funny.
Yeah, DMC made that and is truly a genius.
I think I remember seeing a comment that was like, this is like from an alternate universe where So Great and Powerful was popular.
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe.
Yeah.
I've made a lot of stupid SGAP memes. Like, I made that one SoundCloud page.
Yes.
David SGAP.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's all coming back to me now. I used to think you were like really cool, and I was intimidated by you because you made so many cool things. I'm like, oh man, this person's so cool.
I refuse to believe that. That is.
No, I'm being serious because like, oh man, Bobby's so funny. They're so cool.
Oh my god.
Like, I was really intimidated for a while.
What? Because I made Minecraft parodies of SCAP songs?
Yeah, because it was funny.
Well, I appreciate that. Just come in the voice call, like, you know, you can talk to me anytime. It'll be a great time.
I totally will.
Awesome. Well, I don't know if we have too much more to talk about. We can just keep trailing it off. And, you know, if anyone wants to talk about some things that we didn't get to, or just go back to anything, then, you know, let's do it.
I think I'm pretty much all done. I don't really have much else to say.
Yeah, I think we really got through a lot.
Yeah.
Covered some really good material.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to end these things. I don't know. Daniel, were you gonna say something?
Thank you for
We need
coming.
to get
Oh yeah.
Wait, were you gonna say?
we need to get one of those things that like you press a button and there's like a sound that plays, you know, like dun 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 dun. Like this was the So Great and Powerful.
Oh yeah, like a
podcast.
soundboard.
Yeah, like a
add that
soundboard,
in
but
post.
it's like it's just sgap themed, you know, like something like that.
Maybe someday
Maybe
I'll see you in the distance.
Oh, that's the classic SGAP line.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Daniel, you're saying like,
Yeah, thanks.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
And thanks for being like vulnerable and like showing
Oh my God, of
us your
course.
like your difficult past.
Yeah, it was definitely tough, but ultimately it made me into who I am, and I think I'm pretty cool, so I think it's alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, really do appreciate you coming on and talking with us. I hope this is able to make up for not being on the documentary.
It
and,
absolutely does. I am
I hope
so
you had a
happy.
good time.
I'm so happy I was able to have this conversation. It was so fun.
Yeah, I really think I got a lot out of it, and it was a good time.
Yeah, and just in general, like I don't get to have a lot of deep questions about like the integrity of music, so this was incredibly refreshing. You have no idea. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
I thought you had a lot of great things to say.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, I'll give a quick shout out. Check out the Bulk Bogan Acid Unicorn sets. They're all fantastic. That's some of the best SGAP content I've ever seen. It blows all of the Minecraft parodies out of the water. Everyone should watch those. Thank you so much, Riah.
Yeah,
for
thank
coming
you for
on.
having me. Oh my gosh, it's an honor. Like when you first were like, "Oh hey, you should be on the podcast," I was like, "For really me?" Thank you so much for having me.
Of
Yeah.
course. I'll put all the links to everything we mentioned in the description.
Awesome, and I'll send pictures
Yep.
of my drawings and stuff.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll see you on the next Scapcast on the whatever this is called.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
animals. See you.
Other animals. Bye.
Bye.